Hi, my name's Hannah Hunter, and I'm here today to talk about school uniforms and reducing bullying. Did you know that 15% of all school absenteeism is directly related to kids being bullied? Is it really worth being able to dress the way we want if this many kids are afraid to come to school? When we stop and think about the amount of children being harassed at home and crying every day, ask yourself, is it really worth it? Kids today are so focused on dressing cool and being popular at school, but the amount of kids that are bullied every day is way more than the amount of cool kids. Based on statistics and facts about wearing school uniforms, most bullying occurs because students feel the need to compete with others. Uniforms would create a sense of unity for students, and they would no longer feel the need to fit in based on school clothing. This would also reduce the amount of issues with bullying based on the level of money that parents have to give to their children for school. 21% of all schools require uniforms, so when you really think about it, it's not that bad. If only 21% is required to wear uniforms, this leaves the whole rest of the percentages to be bullied at school just based on what kids are wearing what clothing. Overall, the crime rate dropped in 2000 by 91%. School suspensions dropped by 90%. Sex offenses were reduced by 96%, and incidents of vandalism went down 69%. All this happened after school uniforms were required. In New Orleans, 95% of schools require uniforms. In Cleveland, 85% of schools require uniforms. In Chicago, 80%. Boston, 65%. Miami, 60%. And Cincinnati, 50%. That's a lot of schools that require school uniforms. Kids are so focused on whether or not they can be cool, but they're not realizing that more than half the schools in the world are already wearing school uniforms. Back in 1996, President Clinton said in his State of the Union speech, "If it means teenagers will stop killing each other over designer jackets, then our public schools should be able to require students to wear school uniforms all the time." After this speech, the rate of uniforms went up 20%. That's a lot just based on what President Clinton said, and if we all came together to make a difference, there would be a lot more going down. In 2005, a study was done, and it indicates that in some Ohio schools, uniforms have improved in graduation and attendance rate, says greatschools.org. And in 1944, the Long Beach School District made a mandatory dress code in some schools, making this the first district to ever have school uniforms. That's also from Great Schools. School uniforms really aren't that bad. Kids think about not being able to wear what they want and having to go to school in ugly clothes that aren't designer, that have jewels on them, and wearing fancy jeans. But when you think about all the pros of it, there's a lot. The school uniforms help prevent school gangs because people don't come together in cliques based on what clothing they're wearing. It creates a sense of unity and discipline, and it prepares students for the business world, because in real life you can't pick whatever you want. You have to dress in certain attire and be prepared and be ready for your business opportunity. It creates a sense of responsibility for kids to have to know that every day they have to have their uniform ready, have a schedule planned. It statistically improves attendance. It makes intruders of the school stand out since everyone's wearing the same uniform. It takes away the financial burdens of brand name clothing to the less fortunate. Cliques are more easily prevented in schools. Judgments can still be made, but not on clothing or the amount of money people have for clothing. More parents than not are for the school uniform policy, which makes this a lot easier. And this keeps students focused on learning rather than clothing and the competition between who has what and who can do what. So basically, uniforms statistically increase school performance overall, and uniforms should not be considered a setback rather than a motivation to be successful in school. Wearing uniforms is proven to decrease the amount of bullying in schools, and in the end, that's what matters the most. What can we do to make this happen? My speech was targeted at all of you for a very specific reason. It's the parents, teachers, and students' job to make this happen if they really believe it will work. I can't do this alone, but if we all come together to make this happen, our school will have a much better reputation, and the students and parents will see an increase in the educational behavior and a decrease in bullying. All in all, uniforms aren't that bad, like many of us make it out to be. Uniforms statistically are better for our education and its school attendance. Those students don't like the thought of the same ugly clothing every day. It will better prepare them for life in general. I welcome any comments opposing me, and I'm open to any other ideas. Thank you all for listening to me and being open about my topic.